I would consider it one of the best ad campaigns I've seen in a very long time. A collaboration between Snoop Dogg and Solo Stove. Studying this would improve everybody's marketing because they did it perfectly. It'd be really funny if Snoop said he was giving up smoke.
Definitely a lot of people taking this seriously.
You can see here 4.7 million likes, 175,000 comments. The public liked this promo. They were okay being a little tricked.
Yeah, sometimes crazy ideas really pay off, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the lesson is if you've got a crazy outlandish idea, send it off. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Frustrated by Your Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Jim D'Amico, and I'm joined by my co-host, Madison McQuistion. This is episode 19, and we're going to call this Snoop Dogg Wins Ad of the Year. I was really, really impressed with an ad that came out. I guess it started the week before Thanksgiving, and then the reveal was, I believe, the Monday before Thanksgiving. A collaboration between Snoop Dogg and Solo Stove, and it's one of the more genius ad campaigns that I've seen. I just wanted to talk about it real quick, and I thought it deserved its own episode because it's studying this would improve everybody's marketing because they did it perfectly.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it was really great. So if you don't know about it, what happened is Snoop Dogg came out on his social media platforms saying that he was giving up smoke. And if you know anything about Snoop Dogg, he is a weed connoisseur, and smoking is pretty much cornerstone of his brand image, which is actually really funny because I would say that Snoop Dogg has one of the more beloved personal brands in Hollywood, despite being associated with weed and maybe some other, less wholesome things. Yeah, grandmas love Snoop Dogg. My mom loves Snoop Dogg. Everybody loves Snoop Dogg. He's just, he's a lovable guy. It comes through. His collaborations with Martha Stewart over the years have been amazing. He's just a really, really likable guy.
Did you say collaboration with Martha Stewart?
Yes, he's done.
I did not know that.
Yes, he's done. I believe they did like a cooking segment together, and they've done a bunch of ads together. And like, it's just, he's.
It was actually hilarious. That's so funny.
Martha has a little taint to her brand because of going to jail, but. At the same time, she's like, the epitome of wholesomeness is her brand, right? That's what she's supposed to be. And here Snoop Dogg, is, heavily ingrained in the weed culture, but he's still really, really wholesome. So, he's done an amazing job with his personal brand, better than maybe anybody else out there, or one of the top ones out there. So anyways, he said he's giving up smoke. One of the interesting things in marketing is sometimes what you don't say is just as important as what you do say. So he didn't say he was giving up smoking. He didn't say he was giving up weed. He didn't say he was giving up smoking weed. He
literally just said smoke.
Spoke. And that's the genius behind this. And so I did a bunch of reading about this, and it sounds like what happened is Solo Stove, which is my buddy Greg and I and his friends call it. Basically, it's like a high-end bum fire. So if you know what that is, it's sort of one of those big cans that you see when you go to buy a Christmas tree. This is a very small one, and it is smokeless, and it's great. It's super expensive. And he's got one, and we love it when we're over there sort of, hanging out on his patio or his deck. So Solo Stove, I don't know if it was their CEO, but somebody from there reached out to Snoop Dogg's people and said it'd be really funny if Snoop said he was giving up smoke because we're smokeless. And I guess the story goes that they were really worried that during the time between the teaser and the reveal that he wouldn't be able to not show himself smoking because he literally smokes all day long. That's kind of, it's not just his brand, it's really what he does.
So wait, when did the teaser come out? You said it came out before Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many days. So November 20th was the reveal. So I don't know. It was probably, I think it was 4 days before. So probably, I think that was a Monday. So probably the Thursday before, whatever that is, the 18th.
Wow, really building
16th.
up hype before they actually do the reveal of the ad. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's amazing. And so they, there was this time for people to talk about it. I actually didn't hear about it until after. I'm disappointed. I missed the preview of it. But when I saw the reveal, which actually was sent to us by Kenya, our marketing manager, I started sending it out to a bunch of friends, and they had already seen it. I guess they're on TikTok more than I am. And they knew, kind of were guessing there was something going on. A lot of people thought he might be releasing his own brand of edibles or something like that. But it was out there and people knew about it, which was like really cool. But yeah, so his people were really worried that he couldn't not show himself smoking for 4 days. because it would have kind of killed the punchline. So anyway, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share my screen. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this. If not, we'll put the links in the show notes so you can see it as well.
Well, this ad is doing a really good job because it's making me want one of those stoves. So,
right.
I mean, I'd be good with a regular fire pit too, but those have smoke compared to these.
Right. And so that's the part I couldn't find in my reading. Is like, I don't know how well this did for, I want to follow up on this. Like, how did Solo Stove do is the real question. Like, did they sell more? It was certainly a success from an exposure. People, if you've never heard of the name, I don't know, had you ever heard of the name Solo Stove before?
No, I hadn't. And I think you said too, they are pretty expensive, right?
They are. And this one's even, I think, more expensive than their normal one because he's got a Snoop Dogg branded one, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, so as far as brand awareness, slam dunk. As far as sales, I guess we'll check back and see how that goes. So here's his Instagram account. This was the post that sort of started it all. He didn't do this on TikTok. I guess he was worried that he would be able to pull this off with a video. So he just did a lot, or sort of a still. So after much consideration, here, I'll pull this one out. After much consideration with my family, I've decided to give up smoke. Again, what he left out is so important. Please respect my privacy at this time. You could see here 4.7 million likes, 175,000 comments. His averages are a lot less than that.
Like, what were the comments on that one? I'm kind of curious because I didn't see that post, but I feel like there would be a lot of people.
Right. So this is the top comment. I believe these are sorted by an order of replies and likes of the comments. And it is true that on Snoop Dogg, and this is again part of his brand, he does pay someone to be his blunt roller. Like, he literally has an assistant that just does that. So this comment got a lot of attention. Again, I had read that a bunch of people were saying that they thought that he was going to be announcing an edible line, or they knew something was coming. A lot of people, I read that Queen Latifah sent him encouragement, you got this.
So there were probably, definitely a lot of people taking this seriously because, and it's a pretty legit looking photo too. I mean, you got the black and white, so it is almost along the lines of being more serious and less playful.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that there were other videos. I didn't find any of these of people crying and really sad because, he's sort of leaving this culture that he's...
Yeah, and that's, like you said, it's his brand.
It's a really big part of who he is. So there's that too, which is super interesting. And then he posted this one here as a follow-up, respect my privacy. And then the next one was just...
He's really playing it out.
Right. This is just sort of a whiff of smoke here. I don't know, but really sad. And you can see, not as many, but, millions of likes and a lot more attention, tens of thousands of comments. So really, really good for his exposure as well, for sure. And then we scroll up and then there's some other random stuff. Oh, this is another one, Natural High. He posted this one here, also did really, really well. So I'm assuming these are the ones that were more shared versus the other ones. And you can, again, see that, he obviously gets a lot of attention, but they're not the same way. And then you scroll up to the big reveal here, which is the video. It didn't do as well in the way of likes. So I don't know if everybody loved it, but I did read that overall the public liked this promo. They were okay being a little tricked.
I'm surprised it doesn't have more likes, to be honest, especially after all of his last posts. You think that this would be getting more views and things like that because of leading up to this point of releasing this ad.
Right. It's very interesting. And 2.8 million likes. Let's just see how many views it got. If I scroll all the way to the top here. Here we go. 52 million views. This was I guess a follow-up to it.
Okay, yeah. So the likes are very low compared to the amount of people who have viewed it. And
that's pretty common, I believe, in Reels. And then if you go over to, so again, on TikTok, he didn't post the sort of the lead up because those were images, but then you hear another 50 million. So 100 million views. I'm sure there's a little bit of overlap there between the two profiles, which is amazing. Okay, so let me play this here so we can watch this.
I have an announcement. I'm giving up smoke. I know what you're thinking. Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing. But I'm done with it. Done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all sticky icky. I'm going smokeless. Solo Stove fixed fire. They took out the smoke. Clever.
Okay, literally the brilliant thing for me, I think, is the fact that the beginning of this ad is so different, like a couple more seconds into it. So, you get 5-10 seconds into it, and all of a sudden the patio lights come up, and it just completely changes the whole like aesthetic of the video.
Yeah, absolutely. The tone of it is great. The simplicity of it is great. The reveal was, again, mostly well received from what I've read, which is amazing. And I thinking back to an example that didn't land well, another sort of teaser type of thing, where in this case it was maybe a little bit more obvious that they were up to something. But Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, a couple years after that show was over, one of the most popular shows of all time, they were teasing that they had a collaboration, and there was talks that there was going to be a movie, and maybe they would do a prequel, or maybe they were going to do a sequel, or what was it going to be? And it ended up being that they were promoting a collaboration with a tequila brand, and people were really upset. The fans were not buying it.
I could see that. Yeah.
And I think part of it was that it didn't deliver on what was promised, which was something that people expected. Where in this case, the delivery was actually that nothing changed, right? So it was essentially a really, really good April Fool's joke.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being hey, I'm going to give you a movie, and no, actually, go buy my tequila. Yes. Yeah. Snoop here is asking you to do something. He's asking you to potentially go buy his product, and we'll link to this in the show notes as well. But if you go to it's solostove.com, he's got a Snoop branded fire pit. It's $350.
Oh, okay, that's not actually as bad as I was thinking.
Right, it's the Snoop stove, and then he's got some actual merch that goes with it as well, which is really cool. And again, he's not asking. What the punchline was no, I didn't give that up, but hey, I played a little joke on you guys, instead of, hey, I'm not giving you anything that you want, but maybe you want this other thing. So I think that's the real reason why it worked. So the other sort of interesting things I read was they're calling him the official spokesman for Solo Stove, which I thought was a really good. There's a lot of good puns in this, and it was released at 4/20 on Monday, the 20th of November as well. So they're pulling in that weed culture as well. You can go to solostove.com or goingsmokeless.com. So they even got like a co-branded redirection website, track that traffic. It's genius. I would consider it one of the best ad campaigns I've seen in a very long time. It worked, at least from a brand awareness.
Sorry, I was going to say on that note too, I mean, the crazy part is it is such a crazy idea that with that other one that didn't end up working for the Breaking Bad, I mean, like you said with that, people are expecting maybe a new movie or a sequel or something like that, whereas with this ad, it's more like personal to Snoop Dogg. So it doesn't like totally affect other people, besides the fact that people follow his brand, So even though this did come out as he's not actually going smokeless in his personal life, I guess, that,
right.
It's more of just his personal thing instead of affecting other people. And I think that's why it did so well.
Right. Yeah, no, it was very well executed. The punchline was great, and he's great, and he delivered it well too. Like his like the sad images were great. I don't know how much.
He's really playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much Solo Stove was part of that. Like, did they pre-pick out these photos? Were there like professional photo shoots for that, or did he just say, "I'll do it"? I'm not sure, but whoever did that, they did a great lead up, and like you said, the video itself has a great tone, and the switch of the tone. And then there's like some outtake videos too. We'll link to those as well. Or not really outtakes, but like a couple, or at least one other sort of video of him sort of having fun around the fire pit. So, and that's the thing, is he has fun. And that's why I think people like him, is that he's a lovable guy who does his own thing. So
yeah. And with those photos too, I mean, it's kind of smart on the brand's part, Solo Stove, to just give Snoop Dogg free reign with those photos and be, tell him to take his own pictures, because it seems more realistic that way. Since they're trying to fool people, they would have done, professional photo shoots and things like that. People would have been like, oh, there's something up with this.
Right.
Whereas like it was very realistic the way he was doing it.
Right. And so like any good April Fool's type joke, we did a really famous one for a wing client that we work with, where we said they were only going to serve drums and not flats.
Yep.
And then I hear stories later that people still say some people are still going to believe this. Like there is a small section of people in the world now that think that Snoop Dogg doesn't smoke weed anymore, and those people will probably think it for a long time. But by and large, everyone's in on the joke now, and it works. People like a little joke. They like to be fooled. They like a surprise. That's why surprise parties are a big deal. But again, at the end of this, there was a party instead of a disappointment. And I think that's the real reason why this works. We're going to check back on this. I'm going to try to remember to check back on this. I have a feeling this will be in all the top 10 lists of best ads of the year. And I'm going to be curious to see like how many stoves Solo Stove sell. I'm going to guess they're not going to sell a ton of the Snoop Dogg ones, although they probably will sell those. But the real question is, does their brand share, I don't even know who their competitors are, but do the number of stoves they're selling overall increase because of this? And I'm going to guess it will.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I don't know what they paid Snoop. I'm sure it was a pretty penny, but I'm going to guess they're going to get that back times 10 or more when this is all said and done. So,
sometimes crazy ideas really pay off. So good on their part getting Snoop Dogg to participate, because I'm sure their sales are going to skyrocket because of this.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the lesson is, if you've got a crazy, outlandish idea, send it off. Maybe that person
or run it by some other people first and see what happens.
Yeah. See what they say, because it can work. It can be marketing genius. So congratulations to Snoop. Congratulations to Solo Stove. Congratulations to the marketing agencies that were behind this, because I know that there was an agency behind this too. I don't know their name off the top of my head, but I'm super impressed. Would love to have been in on the meeting, just to be a fly on the wall in the meetings when they were talking about this. It would probably have been amazing to hear what they were saying and all the brainstorming going back and forth. So we don't often see that. A lot of times people just call it in, and this is an example of thinking outside the box. So that was great. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time. Our next episode, we're going to review our 2023 predictions and let you know how we think we did. And then probably the one after that, we will be doing our 2024 predictions. So we'll see you then for that. Like, subscribe. There should be, if you're on YouTube, there should be some buttons on the screen where you can do that. And
go find us on TikTok. We're on TikTok now too.
Oh, right. Exactly. I think it's below, actually, if you're on YouTube somewhere. But it's on there somewhere. And if you're listening on the podcast, please subscribe. We love doing this and love that you guys are listening. So thank you so much. And we'll check you out next time.
Yeah. See you in the next episode.
Bye.